Hi everyone, and welcome back to the series where I take a card out of the Granny Square Stitches card deck every week and make it for you. And we're going to be doing this all year. There's 50 cards in here, so it'll last me the whole year. We are up to week number 23, which is this one, and it is a corner to corner design. And I do love a corner to corner. Now, changing color on a corner to corner can be a little bit tricky. We did a class where we made a pumpkin motif pillow, corner to corner, lots of color changes. It was tricky, but ultimately super fun. This is the pillow in question that we made. Well, this is the cover. There's no pillow inside it. As you can see, lots and lots of color changes. So hopefully I can remember all the tricks that I used and teach them to you today to make this card. As with all of these in this series, I am using Cascade Anthem yarn. This is a 100% acrylic yarn. It's a worsted weight yarn. I have a 5mm crochet hook to use with this yarn. Today I have got the colors Pink Pearl, Agate Green, Lavender, and Coral. They're not exactly like the ones that are in this card, but I figure close enough and they'll look really pretty together. Okay, let's first off read all the words on the back of the card. We've got quite a chart today. We got like the whole chart except for the border, and there will be a reason for that. Okay, the words just say follow the chart to create your fabric square. To work the stitch pattern any size, your starting chain is 6. Follow rows 1 and 2 of the chart, then repeat row 3, increasing by 1 block every row until desired length has been reached. Then begin to decrease by working row 6. Then repeat row 7, decreasing 1 block every row until back down to 1 square. That will become, that will make sense, I guess I should say, as we work it. So corner to corner is done very differently from all the other squares that we've been doing, or even traditional granny squares that are worked in the round. This one is worked diagonally. So you're building these little blocks. You build this one, and then you build these two on the diagonal, and then you fill it in, and you keep going until it is as big as you want it to be. And then you start decreasing. So we will cover all of that when we get to it. We have done, in the classroom setting, we have done corner to corner blankets. I have a pattern on my website for a corner to corner baby blanket. And in that blanket are instructions to make it square, like this, which is the easiest way to do corner to corner, because then as soon as you decide you need to start decreasing, you just do the same thing on both sides and you decrease until you meet up, kind of a thing. But there's also instructions to make a rectangular blanket, which it's not any more complicated. It's just one more thing you have to remember, and that is which side you're decreasing and which side you're still increasing. But that is neither here nor there. Let's take a look at how we start this square. So we are starting, there is a little, let's see if it'll focus for me. There is a little number 1 right here. So this is our starting chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we are going to double crochet into the 4th chain from the hook, and then the next 2 chains. And then we move over, this is where row 2 starts, and you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we do our 3 double crochets again. And that's where it starts differing, because then we make a slip stitch and we build another block. This is where row 3 starts. We start again with our chain of 6. We build our block, we slip stitch to this block, we build another block, we slip stitch to this block, we build our last block. And then we start row 4. So we're going to be working back and forth in diagonal rows just like that. We're going to be changing color basically not quite every row. These 3 blocks are done in the same color, and then we have a whole lot of color changes. So I will go over that when we get there. Okay, we're going to be starting with my pink pearl, and I'm going to come in nice and close today so that you can see exactly what we're doing. Slip knot on my hook, and I am going to chain 6. Now, I have put my fingers on the 3rd chain that I made. And there's a good reason for that. That is where we're going to start making our double crochets. If you've been following along, you know that I like to work into my back bumps. I do the same for the corner to corner, although it's not as necessary, I guess you could say. But I am so used to working into my back bumps, I actually find it hard not to work into my back bumps. So if you don't want to work into your back bumps, don't. I'm going to yarn over, find that chain where I had my finger, and you can see there's 1, 2, 3 chains. So I'm going to make a double crochet in this chain. I'm not going to put any stitch markers in there, and you will see why in a minute. I'm going to put a double crochet into this chain. Oops. And then I'm going to put a double crochet into my last chain. I'm not changing color just yet, so I don't have to worry about that. Okay, that is our first little block finished. So now I'm ready to start row 2. So that starts with a chain of 6. So far so good, nothing complicated, nothing confusing, right? Okay, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to hold on to that 3rd chain like I did before. 4, 5, 6. And again, I am going to double crochet into that 3rd chain that I was holding on to, which is technically the 4th chain from the hook, just to thoroughly confuse you, and then the next 2 chains. Okay, now we've got something that looks like this. It's a little confusing. I'm going to take this block because I need access to this chain space. So I'm going to take this block and I'm going to flip it, make sure my tail is down. I'm going to come over to this chain space and I'm going to slip stitch. And now that's row 1. This is the start of row 2. I need to build my 2nd block right here. So I'm going to chain 3. And then into this chain space, I'm going to put 3 double crochets. And that are my first 2 rows. So these 3 blocks there are these 3 here. Now I actually need to change color. So let's just back out of that last double crochet, just that last yarn over. I'm going to get my hook into those, so that's ready. And then I can cut this one off. I will have to reattach later, but it's just going to get confusing if I keep it attached. So I'm just going to cut it off, and I'm going to grab my next color, which for me is this agate green. Now I have really been having success in my color changes. If I take the tail of the old color, the one that I'm switching out of, and just lay it over my hook, and then lay the new color on my hook and yarn through all of those. So now I'm here. So I need to start with a chain of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then fill in that block. So with my new color, I'm going to chain 6. Sorry, I'm just gonna hold on to all those tails. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna hold on to that third chain. 4, 5, 6. And now where my fingers were is where I'm gonna start my double crochets. So I need 1, 2, and 3. And now I'm going to take all of this work, I'm going to flip it so that I have access to this chain 3 space, and I'm going to slip stitch into that chain 3 space. And now I need to fill in this block area, so I'm going to chain 3 and then put 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Now I need to join this block to this block, so that's where the slip stitch into the chain 3 space comes in. And then I'm going to build my third and final block of this row. So I chain 3 and then I put 3 double crochets into that chain 3 space. I need to change color again, but before I do that, this is what we've got. Row 1 has 1 block, row 2 has 2 blocks, and row 3 has 3 blocks. So I'm going to cut my yarn. I'm going to lay this color over my yarn, grab my purple, lay that over my hook, and pull that through. We're making a new block, so I need to chain 6. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to hold on to that third chain. 4, 5, 6. I'm going to yarn over, insert into that chain that I was holding on to, and start making my double crochets to build my block. So 1, next chain down, 2, next chain down, 3. Now I need to get access to this chain 3 space, so I'm going to flip my work, slip stitch into that chain 3 space, chain 3, and then put 3 double crochets in there. So the concept and the mind bending part is the flipping of the work and the working diagonally. Once you get that, this pattern, you don't even have to think about. If you can count to 3, you can make this pattern. Okay, I finished my block. I need to attach to the next block. So I find my chain 3 space and I slip stitch. I'm going to build a new block. 1, 2, 3. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, and 3 double crochet. Attach to my next block with a slip stitch. Oopsies. And then I need to build that last block of this row. And I will be changing color again. So now that is what we have. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks kind of along the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks up the side. 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks diagonally. So it's dead simple to figure out if you've made a mistake somewhere. So unless your project is a rectangle, you should always have the same number of squares on each side as you do on your diagonal. It should always be, what is that, an equilateral triangle until you start decreasing. Okay, I hope that is starting to make sense. I'm going to change color and do that last row off camera, and then I'll come back and we'll show you how to do the decreases. Okay, that's what we've got after row 5. So now we're going to start decreasing. If you look, let's pull it up close. If you look at the square, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks. So this row that we've just done, which is row 5, is our last increasing row. So I'm over here. I've just made this block. So now I have changed color, and I just realized that they do theirs a little bit differently, and I think it's because we're changing color. So when I would make a corner to corner project, this is what I would do. As to start decreasing, I would chain 3 and then flip my work and slip stitch over into this chain 3 space, and then start building my blocks. Those chains are not showing up on the card. If they had wanted us to chain 3 and then slip stitch, 6 would start here. There would be 3 chains and a slip stitch. There's not. So we need to modify things a little bit. So I'm just going to pull this back, and I can finish this block. So I'm just going to pull that out. That one's all done. So now I'm going to orient my work in the same manner that theirs is. So this is the section that we have completed. So now I'm going to start row 6. So I'm going to put a slip stitch on, or sorry, a slip knot on my hook. And this is a really good lesson why it's really, really important to read all the words. And in this case, look at the chart. Okay, so I need to find this chain 3 space, and I am going to slip stitch into that chain 3 space. So I've got my slip knot on my hook, and my yarn is kind of behind my work, and I take my hook from the front, grab the yarn from the back, pull it through, and then just pull it through the loop that's on my hook. And then I can move that knot to the back, and now I'm ready to work. So I'm going to chain 3. Now I'm going to flip my work so that I'm heading in the right direction. If you are left-handed, you would be doing all of this mirrored. And I'm going to build, or fill in my block, I should say. So I've got my chain of 3 and then 3 double crochets. And now it's just like we've normally done. We're going to reach over into that chain 3 space and slip stitch, chain 3, 3 double crochet. So I'm going to finish this row like we've been doing all along, and when I get to the end, we'll go through how the chart says to continue, and also how I would continue. Okay, so I've just filled in the last block for row 6. If you take a look at row 6, remember we're going on the diagonal. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 little squares that we're building. So I've built those 4 squares. It's really tempting to keep going and build another square. Don't do that. Let's take a look at this chart now, because they do things a little bit differently. So we're right here, and we've just slip stitched to this block to join the last block of row 6 with this first block of row 5. And now to start row 7, you see all these dots? You're slip stitching across to the chain 3 space, and then you're going to start building your square. That's what this, I'll show you what that looks like. So I'm going to turn my work. I'm going to find that first double crochet of the block, slip stitch, find the next one, slip stitch, find the next one, slip stitch, find my chain 3 space, slip stitch, build my block. Okay, so that's what we're doing. How I was taught how to do corner to corner, and how I teach people how to do corner to corner, and what makes sense to me is after you've attached to your last square, you're going to chain 3. You're not going to build a block though, you're going to turn your work, and you're going to take that chain 3 and you're going to slip stitch into your starting chain 3, so that chain 3 lays across the top of your block, and then you can build your next block. Does it make a difference? No. Ultimately, your goal is to get over to this chain 3 space so that you can fill in these blocks. The slip stitch method will leave a sort of tighter edge, I guess. Here you will have these chain 3 spaces along the sides, the top and bottom of your, or the sides of your work. Is that a big deal? No. For the sake of this card and this card only, I will do what they have shown on the card. Okay, so pulling it back, we're going to slip stitch across to that chain 3 space. Slip stitch into the chain 3 space, and now I can build my block. So I'm going to chain 3 and put 3 double crochets into that space. And then I'm just going to work down the next few blocks. Okay, so now I'm going to slip stitch to this block, turn my work, slip stitch back across those double crochets that we just made, and then into that chain 3 space. Chain 3 and fill in my block. And you're just going to keep doing this until you don't have any more blocks to fill. I'm slip stitching across so that I can complete the last block of this square, and then we can take a look. And that is it finished. Ta-da! Do some of these blocks look a little wonky? Have they pulled a little bit? Yes, absolutely. Borders fix everything. So I am going to I'm going to cut off this yarn. We'll reattach it in a corner. I'm going to sew in all my ends, and then we'll come back and we'll do the border together. Okay, ends are woven in. I know that some of these squares look a little bit wonky. Border will fix that, I promise. Okay, let's orient it the way it is in the photo. And in the photo, they have used this blue color. So for me, that's agate green. So that's what I'm going to use for my border. And what we need to do is start with a slip knot on our hook, and then we're just going to find any corner and attach our yarn. So I'm going to come up to this top corner, attach my yarn with a slip knot, chain 1. Hopefully you're getting used to me doing this by now. Calculating exactly where you're going to put your stitches. So there are 5 blocks. If we want to have roughly the same number of stitches as many of our other blocks, 3 3 single crochets per block is perfect. And that does work out. These are chain 3 spaces, so we can put 3 single crochets around those. And then we've got 3 double crochets here. Now, this side has slip stitches on it, so we'll have to stitch into the slip stitches, but there's 3. That's what we need. So we're basically ignoring the joins. That may or may not be what they have done on the card. I am just gonna ignore what they've done on the card and do what I want to do. Okay, so I've chained 1, and now I need to have 3 single crochets. I am going to put a stitch marker in that first single crochet, just so I don't get it confused with the sort of chain that's beside it. Okay, next is a block of 3 double crochets, so I need to sort of turn it over a little bit and find these slip stitches. Now, I have probably woven my ends through these slip stitches, so I might have to dig some of these out a little bit. Plus, slip stitches are harder to work into because they're tighter and they kind of are flatter. So there's that. 3 single crochets over that chain 3 space, and then we've got 3 double crochets again. So find those slip stitches, whoopsies, and put 3 single crochets. And then we got a chain 3 space. It might feel like a lot of stitches, but your yarn will stretch. Okay, now we're at a corner. So we're going to chain 1, and we're going to go right back into that corner. So that does mean that we're ignoring this double crochet. You know what? I changed my mind. Instead of going back into the corner, we're going to go into that double crochet. So we got 3 double crochets, 3 single crochets on top of those. Will it do funky things to my corner? Maybe. I kind of am not that concerned. Okay, we're at a chain 3 space. So 3 single crochets. We've got some slip stitches here. It's 1, 2, and 3. Chain 3 space. 1, 2, and 3, and then 3 double crochets. This is a corner again, so chain 1. Okay, now we're at a corner. So I've already chained 1. I'm gonna put my next stitch right back where it was. Now this is the side of a double crochet, so you're just gonna have to find spaces and put 2 more single crochets into that. And I wouldn't go around the double crochet. I think it will look a little wonky, so kind of shove your hook through the double crochet and get 2 single crochets through the side of that double crochet. And now we're at the base of our double crochets. So you're looking for, in my case, the V's at the bottom because I went into my back bars. So I've got nice V's at the bottom to make my stitches in, except for this one. I'm just gonna shove. And now we're at the side of a double crochet. So through the double crochet, this time we need 3 single crochets, I mean. the base of stitches here. 1, 2, and then 3 more. So 1. I definitely wove my ends in there, so I'm gonna have to fix that a little bit. And 3. Okay, I hope you get the idea. Finish up the last side, go all the way around again with your single crochets. Remember, in your corners where you've got your chain 1s, do a single crochet, chain 1, single crochet. I'm going to do that, weave in my ends, and show you the finished square. See you then. Et voila, all finished. So that is the corner to corner square. What are we could be on? 23. So next week we are going to be doing this one. Granny Spike. All right, I will see you next week. Thank you for joining me.